everyone. I'm Quinye. So I have noticed something the older that I'm getting, and that is nobody takes out the time to check on your mental state. They always assume that you're doing good or that you're okay, and then once you finally do explode, they be wondering to themselves, oh, what happened to that person? They were doing so good, or what about that person? They were being so quiet and stuff, and you don't know what's going on in somebody's head. You don't know what they could be thinking. You don't know what's going on in their head. You don't. You have to take out the time and ask somebody if they're okay, if they're doing good. And yes, I know, I understand that there are times where they'll be like, no, I'm doing good. I'm okay. I'm fine. But deep down, they're not really doing okay. And that could be due to the fact that people don't really make other people feel comfortable going with them with their issues and their problems. They don't allow people to vent. They're always telling people just to hold it in, push it down, and don't think it, don't say it anymore. We as a society has made mental health such a taboo thing that nobody wants to really go and say what's wrong, and nobody really wants to tell them their problems and their issues. And even if they do, they turn around and they just ignore everything you say, and then they're right back to square one from where they started. So they literally made no progress. We as a society have to encourage people to speak their minds, to speak what's on their heart, to speak what's on their minds, because the consequences of that is people just hold it in, push it in, and it builds, it builds, it builds, and builds, and builds, and builds, and builds, and builds, until it finally does explode, and then that's too little too late. And then you have the people wondering, what happened? I thought that he was like a good quiet person, or I thought that she was a good quiet person, and so forth and so forth. But we don't make it easy for people to tell you what's wrong, because society always be like, well, they just being crybabies, or they just being a snowflake, or they need to toughen up, and they need to learn to do this and do that and this and that. And it's just impossible to go to anybody when you have all that stacked up against you. So no wonder people be holding in their problems and their issues and have to resort to doing such crazy and mundane things and troublesome things. And no wonder people resort to like doing drugs and taking pills and stuff like that, because there's really no other outlet to let out their angers, their sadness, the problems, because people don't allow other people to be open. They don't. They don't allow people to be open and share what's in their hearts, what's in their minds, what they could be thinking. They just so quick to want to push them off as being crazy, or they just seeking attention, or they just doing the most, which is really not the case. They really do have stuff going on that they need to let out. I mean, it's going to come out eventually in some form or another. You can only push something down but for so long before it just builds up and finally explodes. Just just take a pressure cooker for example. If you don't release that pressure when when it's like cooking and cooking and building and building and building and building and building, and eventually when someone do open that valve or whatever you have to open to release the pressure, it's going to explode. It's going to explode. Like, you have to release that pressure, you have to release that anger, you have to release that sadness, because it's not going to go away. You may think it's going to go away, And you may hope that it's going to go away, but it's not. It's going to always be somewhere in the back of your mind, the issues and the problems that you have. It's like a scar. Yeah, it may have healed and stuff, but it will never go away. That scar will never go away. It will always be there. It will always be a constant reminder until you let it out. Let it out and just, you have to. You have to let your feelings out. And as a society, we don't allow that. We don't allow that. Because people will be like, oh, well, they just being weak or they just seeking attention and stuff like that. And that is not the case. People need to release their angers and sadness and frustrations, and we need to allow that. We need to allow that. We as a society needs to do better with mental health. So, on that note, if you have any issues or have any mental health problems or any of that sort, please check out the following mental health institutions and search online for any like mental health therapies and anything like that so you can get better, so you can find your joy, and so you can stay joyful and just be you. Just be you. But we as a society has got to do better with mental health. We really do. We really do. Okay. So thanks for watching. If you like this video and want to see more, please click the subscribe button below. And I'll see you guys next time on another video. Okay. Bye.